Do you know what the first item on the McDonald's menu was? Nope. It wasn't fries, it wasn't a hamburger, it wasn't chicken nuggets. It was actually a hot dog. A hot dog. Did you know that Play-Doh started as a cleaner to get black residue off the wall? It wasn't until they saw demand decreasing, and instead of giving up, they pivoted to arts and crafts. And YouTube started as a video dating site. Twitter as a network to find and subscribe to podcasts. All of these are examples of successful pivots. And if they didn't pivot, those companies wouldn't be the well-known brands that they are today. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the 3 ways that you too can successfully pivot in your business to get to where you are meant to be. Hey friends, Alexa Carlin here, speaker, author, and founder. And the first tip on how to successfully pivot is all about timing. It's really important that the timing is right. Now, most of the time, why I see people not pivot is because they are afraid of failure, afraid of thinking like their friends or their parents or their colleagues are gonna think that they're pivoting because they didn't succeed, but really that pivot is for purpose if the timing is right. And so you have to think about, am I pivoting for purpose to get my business to that next level, or am I giving up too soon? So that comes a lot to like self-work and really thinking intuitively on how you feel, but also strategically. Like if the demand is decreasing, but you have something, maybe it's a different product or maybe it's for a different segment, right? McDonald's was like, hot dogs are not selling. We're gonna pivot to hamburgers. So that was a successful pivot. They didn't fail. They just do what anyone needs to do and creates change. Nothing is permanent. So just because you had an idea, and just because it worked for the last few years, but you start seeing that your income, your demand, whatever is decreasing, that's a sign that you need to pivot for purpose. Don't ever think that you're giving up if you know in your heart that this is the right move forward. That's another way to know that the timing is right, which leads me to my second tip, which is to create your non-negotiable list. So your non-negotiables, these are the things that you have to have in your business. I wrote a full chapter on this in my book, Adaptable. Chapter 27, set your non-negotiables. And I learned this the hard way during COVID, during the pandemic, because I ran an event business. I'm a public speaker. And so in a split second, my entire revenue stream was gone. And I was like, how the heck am I going to be able to continue and pay my people and still grow this community and business when I can't do events and I can't travel for speaking? And so for one of my businesses, Women in Power X, we were attracting 2,000 to 3,000 people per event. Obviously, we couldn't do that when the pandemic happened. So I was feeling like a failure. I was feeling like, wow, I did not prepare correctly for this. Like, I don't have a backup plan. And I was trying to figure out where to pivot. And I was trying all these different things, like dabbling in this and this and this, and nothing felt like right. And that's when I realized I wasn't aligned with my purpose. So I thought about, how I found the right thing or the right person or the right move in other places in my life. And I started to think about dating. So I met my now husband through not giving up and setting my non-negotiable list when it came to dating. So I was going on all these different dates and I was like, I can't find the one. And I would go on the second date with someone because I laughed at the first date, realizing like I make myself laugh. And I was just wasting a lot of time. And as someone that's already very busy with my business and my family and my friends, like I didn't want to spend more time going on these dates with someone that wasn't the right person. And so my friend said, have you written your non-negotiable dating list, right? What are the non-negotiables you need in a guide? And I realized like I was looking for someone that's well-cultured and well-traveled, but that wasn't necessarily a non-negotiable. Instead, what a non-negotiable was a person wanted to travel and had the desire to travel. Not that they already did it. And so I realized like another thing I was looking for is like they had a sister that was close to my age and we could become best friends. That's like non-negotiable, but what is a non-negotiable is that they are close to their family and they value family because I value family. Once I wrote that list, I found my now husband because I was looking for the right things. So then I had that epiphany moment and I was like, why don't I do that in my own business? So I sat down, pen to paper, and I wrote out my non-negotiables. And what I realized was I was trying to think like my whole business is events, and now I can't do that because of the pandemic, right? And once I started to write down my non-negotiables, I realized it's not events that were non-negotiable, but instead it was community. It was creating a community of collaboration over competition. It was empowering women. It was using my voice to make a difference. It was having that freedom of time. Like all of these things that were important to me or important to what I wanted to create had nothing to do with events. Events was just the vehicle to fulfill that mission. So that's my second tip, is to write your non-negotiable list. Really what you value in your work and in your personal life and why you started this business. And you'll see what's important. And guess what? There are a million ways to achieve that mission. So if the first one is not working out, you can pivot. Now the third tip is being selfish for a minute. Yes, I said it, being selfish for a minute. It's tapping into your intuition and what you know is right, but also what you want. What do you want in your life? Because if you are on a path that you're doing this route to get to your mission because you think it's gonna lead you to success, but you don't enjoy the work, it's gonna be really hard to make that business sustainable. That's why it's super important to tap into your intuition and know what you really want out of life. Because the thing about pivots is there's different levels of it. There's an external pivot, pivoting outside the business, like IBM. The founder went from selling meat slicers to computers. That's a huge external pivot, completely different industries. But then there's the internal pivot, like the McDonald's menu. It was still a fast food chain, but instead of hot dogs, they went to hamburgers and chicken nuggets. And so it's really important to know what you want. Like for me, I had this blog that I started in college called Hello Perfect, and I thought it was gonna be my end all be all. I thought that was my business for the rest of my life. And then when I started to pivot internally, I was like, okay, well, this blog for around fashion is not producing any income, and now I'm out of college and like I need to, start making money if I want to make this my full time. So then I pivoted to make it a foundation and started raising money for self-esteem because we were trying to redefine perfection and instill confidence. But then I realized like the nonprofit work, for me to own a nonprofit, wasn't necessarily aligned with what I wanted to do full time. Instead, I wanted to partner with different nonprofits that were close to my heart versus run one of my own. And then I realized like it's not an internal pivot that needs to happen. I had this opportunity and I saw a need in the market to create Woman in Power X. I saw a need to connect diverse women of different ages, backgrounds, and industries. I started that event business. And if I wanted to make it as successful as I knew it could be, I had to give it my all. It became an external pivot. Now it was hard. I was like, am I giving up too soon? Am I a failure? And if I didn't pivot, if I didn't make that pivot and intuitively, listen to my intuition, then the thousands of lives that we've been able to positively impact would have never happened. It would have never led me to my own growth as a published author, as an in-demand speaker. And so it really is important to listen to your heart, tap into your intuition, know what you want down the line selfishly, because when you are aligned with what you desire, you're going to be more valuable to your customers and clients. And also know that ideas are fluid. They can change. Nothing has to be permanent. Just because it worked or just because you tried one thing and decided on that, you can make a new decision and a new decision. Do not be afraid to make the decision, because that in itself is a decision that's going to lead you down the wrong path. So number one, timing. Make sure the timing is right. Number two, create your non-negotiables list. And number three, tap into your intuition and what you really want. That's going to help you pivot with purpose, pivot successfully, and scale your business to the next level. If you like this video, please subscribe and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Oh, and if you want a copy of my book, link is below.
That was actually great.